So hello, and this is Glenn from Grandma Coins and Banknotes, and today we're looking at Canadian 5-cent coins. So, if I zoom in, so as you can see, I pretty much have most of the range of Canadian 5-cent coins. It's actually quite a few coins I actually don't have, but this, will suffice for the actual video. So, the Canadian 5-cent coin was introduced in 1858, along with the other denominations, and it was issued pretty much for use in Ontario and Quebec. The other provinces had their own coins, or they used United States coins, or they imported these coins for local use, and it was based on the US dollar, which is based on the Spanish real, unlike the Australian dollar, which is based on the UK pound. So that is the actual difference. And we have the small silver coins. So this is where it separates from the United States in the actual 5-cent coin. They only issued a large coin, made a nickel in 1922, so use the first one here. So up until 1922, they actually issued a silver coin. I think the Americans changed their coin from small to large in 1865 or something like that. I'm not too familiar with US coins. US coins just don't really interest me that much, but except for a few, but we won't worry about that here. And as you can see, the design's changed. So if we actually have a look closer up with the actual silver coin, so here are the two silver coins. So the earliest I got is 1911, and then I got 1917. And the actual difference between both of them is that the 1912 to 19 actually had the gratia. We'll have a look at the actual effigy on the other side. But these are actually not really high minted. So 1917, about 5.5 million coins. And the actual 1911, which is pretty much a 1 year type because it doesn't have the gratia, 3.7, a little bit less than 3.7 million. And they have a silver value of about $1.20. So if you want a coin with a silver value of $1, this is actually going to be, it's actually quite small. So if I put a threepence next to it, Australian threepence, as you can see the actual size there, so it's smaller than a 5-cent coin. And these are 1.16 grams, about 15.5 millimeters in diameter. So it's about 1 gram of silver equals $1. And these are 92.5, so these are silver sterling coins. Okay, so I flipped one around, but I just wanted to show this. The actual rotation is not like the United States. It's actual coin rotation. So the same as Australia. And here we have George Rex in the Imperial. And on this side we have George de Gratia Rex in the Imperial. So you can see it has the Gratia. The effigy is pretty much the same, and the actual border on this one is actually a bit bigger, larger denticles in the actual coin. So these ones probably would have circulated up into probably the 30s, because the mintages for these nickel coins is probably not enough to actually replace the silver coins. So silver coins probably, average mintage is about 5 million. And if we look at the actual nickel coins for the 20s, so 1922. So if we look up there, the 1922 nickel coin had a mintage of 4.76 million. So it's really not enough to actually offset, even the 1919 silver coins. 1927 had a mintage of 5.5 million, and they're actually pretty high mintages, so they're the top mintages. So they're 25 and 26 are the ones you want to get. They're less than a million. 25 is a mintage of 200,000. So that's the actual coin you want to get in this series. 1925. And in this condition, very fine, you're probably paying $100. So if we actually look on the other side, yeah, so these are probably fine to very fine condition. Let's say VF. So for this coin in VF, you're probably paying probably $2 to $5. The 1927, you're probably the same amount, $2 to $5. These silver ones in this condition, you would be paying quite a lot more than $1.20. So the 1911, which is actually the better one, you'll probably be paying probably at least $10. And the same with that. So, you know, if you want to get bullion coins, or as they say, junk silver, this quality coin is actually not it. So here we actually have pretty much the whole series. We'll go through the effigies in a minute. So from 1922 to 36, they actually used just the maple leaf and just Canada and the denomination. And then that actually changed in 1927 to the actual beaver. So this was also a round coin. As you can see, it was made out of nickel, 4.54 grams. And in 1942, they changed the shape to a 12-sided coin. So there's the cogonal, whatever they call it, and that is a 12-sided coin. They actually did that with the 1-cent coin at a later period. So do I have a 1-cent coin here? I know I've got a few of them. Oh yeah, there you go. That's the 1-cent coin. That was actually, we'll have a look a bit later. And then this one here is actually a bit corroded, but this is actually supposed to be a V tombac, so that's a 8% copper and 12% zinc. And as you can see, it's actually, all I can see is the actual V. So the V coins were issued in 1943 to 45. In 1944, they actually put out chromium plated steel, and then in 46 it went back to nickel. Then 51 they went to chromium plated steel again, so that should be magnetic. And then in up to 54, then in 55 it went back to nickel. So they had a fascination with chromium plated steel. Maybe they had problems getting actual nickel, and they used nickel up until 1982 when they changed to copper nickel. So the nickel one should be magnetic. So if we actually use a magnet, so this one should be nickel. Yeah, see, it sticks to the actual magnet. Then we actually have this should be copper nickel. Yeah, it doesn't stick to a magnet. Then we had nickel plated steel, which I introduced in 1999. So yeah, that's also magnetic as well. So nickel and steel is pretty much just iron, are actually magnetic. So now the coins are actually just nickel plated steel. So in 1922, these coins actually purchased quite a lot of stuff. I'm not too sure. Yeah, but some prices in 1920, I didn't find anything for 1922 were okay. So beef chuck roast, £1, 25 cents. So there's a quarter of that. Then we have bacon breakfast, £1, 55 or 56 cents actually, rounded up. Eggs, 1 dozen, 70 cents. Milk, 1 quart, whatever that is. I know it's a measure of weight, but I don't know how big it is. 15 cents. So these are all in pounds, the old denomination. So Okay, here's getting close. 1 pound of flour, 8 cents. Can we find anything that's actually worth 5 cents? I should actually show you this. This is actually quite interesting. So here it actually is. So I know this is actually a coin channel, but you know, you do want to know what your actual coins could actually buy in a day. So you've got 1920s up to 1930s. So as you can see, there's actually a price reduction in the 1930s in the Great Depression because people actually ran out of money. They couldn't actually buy anything. But yeah, we won't worry about that. That's a very interesting development. And you know, most stuff, 8 cents vinegar, 1 pint, 1 packet of potatoes, 8 cents. So yeah, so the 5 cent coins you could probably actually buy a meal, I would say. Uh, Probably a poor quality meal. 1 month's rent, nearly $25. So a weekly budget, $25, and I'm not too sure on wages. So that's what, you know, your coins could actually buy in 1920. So there's actually a good website that actually has a lot more varieties than I'm going to show you here, because this is just a basic introduction for 5 cent coins. And most of these coins are actually not really going to be worth much. The 1941 had a mintage of, just looking it up now, can't find it. But it also, yeah, 8.681,785 coins. It's nickel, so it's magnetic. And this one actually shows quite a lot of die cracks, die clash behind King's Head. So a lot of stuff you can actually find on the Australian pennies. So if you got an error book, if you got the Renix book for errors on Australian coins, you can apply that to Canadian coins as well. So the die clash is what I like to call ghosting, because it looks like it's got a ghost on it. You got die chips, die cracks, you got cuds, you got dots are just cuds. Doubling as well on the 9 and 4. So that's what you need to actually look for. But basically 9 and 41 in this condition, this is probably VF condition. Here it's got $1.70 Canadian, so I would say probably about $2. If you want uncirculated, probably talking about $15. And then 62. 62 should actually be a very common coin, and it should actually not command too much value. So 1962, yeah, in this condition, probably 5 to 10 cents, maximum of like 50 cents. So 62 double date is the one you want to look for. But let's have a look. Does this one have a double date? Probably not. So yeah, it doesn't look like it actually has a double date. Oh wait. Under the 2 could actually be just damage as well, because I've never actually seen a double date, so I'm not too sure on what I'm actually looking for. So that actually might be a double date there, and it's actually not a scarce coin. So in this condition, this would be classed as, yeah, probably fine to very fine. You're talking about like $1.50 to $2.50 for a coin like that. Oh yeah, so need to investigate more. Looks like Canada might be doubled as well. So you've got the doubling on the A. So yeah, double C and A in Canada. Don't see any doubling on the C. Anyway, so that's what you need to actually look for, is the actual error coins. Most of the other coins that you see here are pretty much just like 5 to 10 cents each. There's just so many of them actually minted. So here I have a close-up of the 1964. It looks pretty good. But this one has a mintage of 78 million. So really, in this condition, if I was in Canada, I'd probably just spend it. It's not really worth. There's a catalog like 15 cents. So it's actually should be a pretty common coin. And I wouldn't be surprised if you go to Canada, you actually get these in your change still. So, a 57-year-old coin, but still in circulation. Like we find 1966 coins in our change in Australia. So here we actually have the effigies. I don't have the Queen Victoria and Edward VII, but then you got George V, which is pretty standard for the colonial countries. Then we have George VI. Then we have the Gillick Elizabeth II from 1953 to 1964. Then in 65 they change over to the Mackin effigy, and that was used up until 1989. Then, but the difference is that from 65 to 81 they use a large effigy. So if we actually have a look, we'll zoom in. So this is the actual larger effigy, and here we actually have the small effigy from 82 to 89. So they probably have problems with the actual production of the coin. That's probably why they reduce the effigy. And then we have, so these two are actually quite crude in their actual design. I don't really like them. New Zealand also has this effigy, so those coins would have been minted in Canada. So I'm not too sure why they actually produce these two. And this is the actual Hunt engraving. And then we have the best effigy of Queen Elizabeth II that I've actually seen. And this one is the one I actually currently use. So as you can see, quite a nice. So when you go to Canada, you should actually quite easily come across these, because now the mintage of these coins is actually quite high. This one is dated 2011. It had a mintage of 230 million. So it's actually quite a lot of coins. The last mintage I'll see was 2018 with 87 million. So it's actually quite a high mintage. So these are actually really not worth that much. I would say, unless it's uncirculated, probably don't worry about collecting it. And the effigy on this one is the Susanna Blunt effigy. So that's the only country that actually uses that. Anyway, that is our, Snow Yanks currency in North America, similar to the United States currency, but it is diverging because the 50 cent, $1 and $2 are quite different, and they don't use a 1 cent coin. So anyway, thank you very much for watching my video. I hope it helps you with Canadian coins if you're in Australia, or if you're in the United States, or if you're in Canada as well. There actually are quite a few Canadian coin channels for a population of 35 million, but you actually should look them up. And thank you very much for sharing this experience. Thank you and goodbye.